Alright guys, hey, this is Aaron again at the Duke. Hey, we're going over Melvin Gordon today. You know, after his trade to the Denver Broncos from the Chargers, after his holdout for more money last season, which ended up backfiring on him, and he didn't even get more money than what the Chargers originally offered him. So it'll be interesting to see how Denver uses him this year. But hey, let's jump into it and let's see what we can find on Melvin Gordon. Alright guys, hey, Melvin Gordon was traded to Denver this season. He's going to be splitting that backfield with Phillip Lindsay. This is kind of what we expect out of Melvin Gordon this season. You know, currently, I think he's going around that 4th round running back right now. And to be honest, we wouldn't recommend taking him as one of your RB1 or 2s. Unless you're going into a 0 RB year this year and that's what you have to target. He's definitely, for us, a running back 3 to target this season. But hey, let's dive into the stats and look at what we can find on Melvin Gordon. Alright, so Denver has a lot of carries. They're going to rush the ball. But they also have Phillip Lindsay. And, you know, it's a lot like the Green Bay Packers. They want a 50-50 split backfield. You know, I don't see Melvin Gordon coming in and just taking that over. And I don't see Phillip Lindsay being just a change of pace back. I think they like both these running backs. He should take Freeman's role from last season, and that's really what they wanted to do was a 50-50. Now, Phillip Lindsay ended up outpacing and outrushing Freeman last season, so that he ended up getting a little more carries, but Denver likes that 50-50, and Melvin Gordon and Phillip Lindsay should be a good head-to-head battle with each other on carries. The bad thing about that is that doesn't really produce in fantasy for us on a week-to-week basis. All right, so last year, you know, Denver had 75 receptions to running backs. They're definitely low. They want to use their running backs to rush. And Melvin Gordon's touchdowns and receiving yards are really what helped him with the Chargers to finish around that top 5, top 6 positions for a couple years. And we don't see that happening with Denver. All right, they're going to use him. They're going to put a fullback in. They're going to do a lot of lead blocks, and they're going to use their tight ends on a lot of zone reads. So they're going to be rushing the ball straight up the middle. Good thing about that, Melvin Gordon was used to that. That's kind of what he ran with Wisconsin in college. So it's definitely not anything new to him. He should be able to get it, but we just see a regression in receptions. And especially in a half PPR or PPR league, we would like to see a little more receiving out of that, especially when only 75 receptions were to running backs last year, and that should be split with Phillip Lindsay. So there's really not a whole lot here as far as receiving. You know, also Denver had a hard time using their running backs to get touchdowns. And in fantasy, you know, we want people who are going to score touchdowns, and we want to be on teams that are going to score touchdowns. Now, Denver should put up more points this year. They seem to have, you know, very good or high likes for Drew Lock. You know, I think that's kind of just Denver. I don't know how anybody else feels about that right now. But they also added to the receiving core. You know, this is Noah Fant's second season, Cortland Sutton on the outside, and then they bring in a rookie receiver as well. You know, we see this offense trying to pass more and be more efficient through the air. And by doing that, it's not going to help the running backs out as well, especially on the receiving side, all right? So it really hurts us, especially with the touchdown regressions. I mean, if this was supposed to be a split backfield, 50-50, which we see it being, even if it's a 60-40, you know, that really only puts about 6 or 7 touchdowns to Melvin Gordon this season. And only on 175 possible carries, maybe 200 carries. You know, there's no way he's going to break into that top 10 running back. We don't see that from Melvin Gordon this year, all right? So, you know, Phillip Lindsay's career average is 4.9 yards per carry, and Melvin Gordon's is only 4.0. I think that actually ended up going up after last season because he was rushing for that contract and wanted numbers. Because I believe before that, you know, Melvin Gordon's rushing was actually in the 3s for yards per carry. He really hasn't rushed that well since he's been in the league, and the only thing that's actually made him fantasy worthy is the touchdowns that he's been able to get when he was with the Chargers. And we just see a huge touchdown regression coming from him this year, especially in the Denver Broncos offense. So he's not really anybody we're targeting heavy. You know, our expectation this season in comparison is going to be to Devontae Freeman of Atlanta last season. You know, he finished running back 20. You know, that's kind of where we see him this year. He should get, you know, about 175, maybe 200 carries. All right, guys, hey, that's what we got on Melvin Gordon this year. You know, if you're targeting him, I'd say if he slips into the 5th round, he's definitely worth the pickup. But I think there's other people in that position, especially in the 4th round, and especially with the receivers that we can find in the 4th round this year, that might do your team a little better. Melvin Gordon, he's not a boom. He'll probably be a safe. He'll get his carries. We don't expect too much out of him this year, though, actually. And we don't see any high. He won't put up the same numbers he did in LA and with the Chargers, and especially splitting with Phillip Lindsay in the backfield. We just don't see the Denver Broncos using that offense like LA did with their running backs. And so he's definitely kind of somebody we're avoiding unless he can slip down around and he gets skipped. Then in the 5th round, he's definitely worth picking up. But hey, that's what we got on Melvin Gordon this year. Thanks for tuning in. Hit that like, hit that subscribe, and we'll see you later.